Okay, we will call this regular council meeting to order for Monday, September the 8th. It's 3 p.m. And I'll ask Councillor Wing to please read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3 within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wing. And we'll move on to 2.1. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? No. Can I please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Councillor Dunham.
Mayor Barclay will make that motion.
Great, thank you. All in favor? I'd also just like to welcome Councillor Messaros, who's online with us today, just so everybody knows. And we'll move into 3.1, the regular council meeting minutes for August the 28th. When somebody's ready, please make a motion. Councillor Bates.
Yes, I'll move the August 28th minutes for adoption.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried, thank you. And then 3.2, the agenda and priorities meeting for September 2nd. Councillor Wing.
I will move those minutes, Mayor Barclay.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, we will move into a public hearing next. So I'd like to welcome Manager Shaw. And I hereby declare the public hearing relating to Bylaw 1470A86 now open. So the order of this public hearing is as follows. So there'll be an introduction of the bylaw by administration by Manager Shaw. And then I will call to hear from anyone in support of the bylaw. And then I will call to hear from anyone who is in opposition of the bylaw. So welcome, Manager Shaw, and please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So today you have a bylaw before you that seeks to change the land use zoning for properties in our subdivision, in the Woodland subdivision. If you want, thanks. So we have 3 properties that are under consideration through this bylaw. These are located on Davie Street as well as Woodland Road. They're about a half acre in size. So Davie Street and Woodland Road are currently gravelled, but they are considered to be a paved structure in the future once you see urban development happening in this area. The properties themselves are as you can see, they're level. They have some grasses as well as shrubs and some trees on them, but basically rural type of lots at this point. They are not serviced by municipal services, so any type of servicing would be on site. So purpose of the land use bylaw. The land was approved to be subdivided back in 2016 to create the 3 parcels that we have now. Landowners completed the subdivision conditions in 2024. They have had the parcels on being listed for some time now. There has been interest in the lots, but under the R1A district, it does not allow for manufactured homes in such a district. However, the R1C district does allow manufactured homes as a discretionary use. So as we take a look at section 3.36, which guides manufactured homes in the community, as indicated, it's a discretionary use under the R1B, R1C, R1N, and RT districts. The external appearance of a manufactured home shall be acceptable to the Development Authority, having regard to compatibility with other buildings in the vicinity, and shall have, as shown here in the 6 criteria, one of the key ones would be having a permanent foundation consisting of a basement, crawl space, or slab on grade. And then also item 6, having a maximum width of 6.09 meters, 20 feet measured from external wall surface to external wall surface. So as regarding all public hearings, they have to be, public has to be notified. There's a process that the provincial government legislates in terms of how such bylaw should be advertised. And so with this bylaw, we have followed those requirements, i.e. we have notified through the newspaper on August 26th and September 2nd. We've had direct notice to property owners in proximity to the subject site. We have also notified the applicants of the date and time and place of the public hearing. And they are in attendance this afternoon. So as you can see, back in 2013, there was a couple houses on these properties. As we go through this, you'll see that this was basically a very large property when it was formerly subdivided. And then what happened is that they subdivided off 3 parcels and a remnant parcel. And so if we go to the next slide, we talk a little about the zoning history of the properties. So bylaw 1470, A42, rezone the properties from reserve for future development district, RD, to low density residential district in August of 2016. And then another bylaw in May of 2017, rezoned the properties from low-density residential district to residential single-family district, the R1A. And that's the current zoning on these properties. So if we take a look at the properties around the subject properties, we can see that there's a mixture of land use districts within this area of the woodland subdivision. You have some reserved for future development, single-family residential, as well as the R2 district. So average size of the parcels, we took a look at Woodland Road and those properties on the west side of the Woodland Road to see what kind of sizes they are. So in doing so, we found that most of them were just slightly larger than the subject properties that we have here, 0.675 of an acre versus the 0.5 of an acre or so. Subdivision history, I kind of alluded to this earlier. So in 2016, the property was given subdivision approval. So at that time, it was a fairly large parcel, 7.78 acres. It was subdivided into the 3 residential parcels that we're dealing with today, as well as 2 municipal reserve parcels and a remnant parcel. So in 2024, as I indicated, the applicants completed the subdivision conditions and land titles were issued. So these 3 properties have variable widths ranging from 35.49 meters to 31.84 meters. R1C district requires a parcel to have the following development standards as you see on the screen here. The landowner is responsible for providing to the satisfaction of the development authority either a water well or cistern for potable water and a septic field or pump out tank for sanitary sewer. These properties are subject to an agreement that when services are available, the landowner will have to connect at their expense. There's a caveat registered on each property type. It's possible that these properties could be subdivided in the future. And as you see in the diagram below you here, what effect that might have. but then that's also going to be subject to whatever improvements we see on the properties, whether or not they're oriented in a north-south direction or a east-west direction. This will limit the ability to subdivide the parcels in the future. However, that subdivision is likely going to be subject to having municipal services within this area of the community. Under the statutory planning framework, you can see in this slide here that these parcels are subject to the Woodland Area Structure Plan as well as the Municipal Development Plan. This proposal satisfies each statutory plan, and then there's some further information regarding lot size from the Woodlands Area Structure Plan included in the slide. But the Woodland Area Structure Plan did anticipate that this area would eventually become urban-sized lots. It's only a matter of time before that eventually happens. So the role of the public hearing, it's a legislative requirement when a council considers a zoning change to a property, gives the public the opportunity to be able to voice concerns directly to council about a proposed amendment. Administration, as we're doing now, provides background to council. Those in favor of the proposed amendment are given an opportunity to present to council, and then those against the proposed amendment are given also an opportunity to present to council. Following the conclusion of the public hearing, council will make a motion to close the hearing and then may or may not consider second and third readings of the bylaw. So with respect to evaluation of the proposal, you'll want to look at it from the standpoint of conformity with the statutory planning framework, as we had discussed, compatibility with adjacent uses of land, suitability of the land for the proposed purpose, including the density of the development, adequacy of vehicular access, water supply, sewage disposal, etc., and then future development of surrounding lands. And so administration has reviewed this proposal against these criteria. And so, we see that the MDP identifies these parcels as residential. The area structure plan identifies these parcels as residential. Previous amendments to the land use bylaw identified various intensities of residential use on these properties. And then we have a series of policies, documents which review housing within the community. And so this proposal falls within the provisions outlined in these policy documents in terms of encouraging a diversity and type of housing within the community. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Manager Shaw. Okay, moving on to number 2, or number 3, I should say. Is there anyone with us today that would like to speak in favor of this bylaw? Yeah, okay, welcome. If you'd just like to state your name and into the microphone, if you could turn the mic on, please. It's on? Okay, sorry, can't see that from here.
My name is Leon Liu. So I live in Red Deer. I work for Stantec Consulting. 8 years ago, I designed the lift station in the Woodland area, but did not happen to put in construction, so that's fine. We bought this property 10 years ago, so it's been, my hair was black that moment, right? But, so what happened is we did lots of activity there. First of all, thanks for the council and the community development group. I would say is not one of the better towns to work with. It's the best. Red Deer is second best. So I had 2 properties in BC. So take weeks to respond an email, take months to give you something, take 8 years now still somewhere. So, but this one, every single stage is a couple of months. I believe, even the 46 lot subdivision takes quick, very quick. I appreciate that, first of all. So, however, that moment, 2016, 17, something went wrong. So, we did not go ahead to move further. They're only $2.3 million, but we said stop for a while. So that's 10 years, 8 years now, right? So secondly, I care about the town. It's beautiful town, warm. So 10 plus years ago, every weekend we drive here for meat, to buy meat before that store burned down, right? So I stop for gas, the new fuels for cheap gas, buy Tim Hortons, drive to Calgary. So that's what we do, right? So it's a very warm town. Me and my wife, we love this town. So this, however, after a couple of complaints, homeless, teenagers, so then the second year we bought this property, we donated to fire department to practice, then burned down, then demolished to make the area look nicer. So then we try to create a good area for people to build a house. All those 46 lots we planned, they are 65 feet wide. So let's not go with density, go wide. People can build a 3-car garage or RV parking, which is great for retirement. So that's the whole thing. So that's the history. So now, the new area structure plan, which is there, the larger parcel still available. I'm going to hold that for a while until I work with neighbors to based on that. We could create another 43 lots or 42 lots. But the 3 little piece really cannot afford to hold forever because this is so far around $400,000 hold cash there, right? So it's 10 years. I would like to sell it to people who need. So this property we listed since 2017. Lots of traffic, nobody stop. Lots of inquiries every day, but 2 big reasons. One is water, sewer, holding tank. I'm a water engineer. I said, holding tank, great. Later, you tie into the town system, which is great. Why not? A piece of holding tank, $5,000, $6,000. But lots of people still question, no, I'd rather not. Right? That's one. Second question is, they try to move closer to their family. Lots of inquiries is my age. They want close to the daughter, son, or family. They move from Calgary, Oz, so they want to stay here. So something I cannot afford. They don't want to spend $600,000, $500,000 to build a house. They said, how about a manufactured modular home? I spend $200,000 to $250,000. I'm over here. I put there good foundation, nothing wrong, good looking. I did research as well, talked to a couple of modular home builders. They look great. They look to a garage, nothing wrong, right? So that's the reason we said, okay, maybe that is the market. Tell us we should resume this and get the town approval, possibly sell to those people who need it. And they can build a house here and settle down. For retirement, for I call it one bowl of soup distance, right? So let's give them an opportunity. Also give us opportunity for 10 years property, hold there, $400,000 cash. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there anyone here that would like to speak against the bylaw? I don't think there is. So are there any further comments from Manager Shaw? And how about Councillor Wing?
I just have one question through to Manager Shaw, please. I'm curious about what the Development Authority will allow as far as the future manufactured homes that go in. So we've had other situations in the community where people have wanted to move older mobile homes into existing areas, and we've said no, because that we have to maintain the area. And so would we be looking then for new or of a certain level of homes that are brought in? And like, is there kind of a development standard for that area so that we wouldn't be subjected to a bunch of old mobile homes?
So, Mayor and Council, can I ask you to go back to the slide that had section 336? Okay, so if you see here that this is the wording from the land use bylaw for this particular section. These are discretionary use within this district, meaning that an application would have to go before the Municipal Planning Commission for its review and decision, and is subject to appeal by anyone in the community. So it does say that the external appearance of a manufactured home shall be acceptable to the Development Authority. Okay, and then it also shows that you will need to have a permanent foundation consisting of a basement crawl space or slab on grade. You have a maximum length to width ratio of 2.5 to 1, and you have a minimum width of the actual home itself. And so with these provisions, that should rule out the possibility of having older style manufactured homes within this part of the community.
Okay.
And so, you know, and as I indicated, because it is a discretionary use, it goes before our MPC for them to review and to provide a decision. And again, it is subject to appeal.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? No, Manager Shaw, curious about the servicing. So people can move in the manufactured home potentially and have the on-site water, sewer, well, and sewer. I guess that the overall view of this area, we hear that the owner speak about further development, and you know, has there been discussions, not that necessarily matters to this application right now, but I guess, you know, I'm thinking about people that, you know, it's a lot of money to do a well and a septic system, and then 2 years from now, maybe there's a lift station that goes in, and are we going to require at that point in time, because there's now technically services, or the ability to have services, are we going to technically require people to tie into our municipal services, and now the $50,000, $60,000 or more that they've spent on doing their own system is not able to be grandfathered?
So, Mayor and Council, as I indicated through the presentation, there is an agreement on title which identifies to the potential purchaser that at some point in the future, the municipality may be coming in with services. And then at that time, you are obliged to connect to those services. Whether that's 2 years, 5 years, 10, or 20 years from now, I can't tell you that. But there is that obligation that you do so. So you have all of the lots or the estate style lots on Woodland Road have the same type of services. Mm-hmm. So they would be expected that when services are extended, that there would be that requirement to be able to tie into the services that have been put into Woodland Road to create more urban-sized type of lots.
Okay, fair enough. Anybody else? No? Okay, well, if there's nothing further, then I'll just accept a motion to please close this public public hearing. Councillor Wing.
Mayor Barclay, I would move to close the public hearing.
All right, thank you. All in favor? All right, carried. And then we will address this further on in the agenda. Okay, all right, thank you for coming. Appreciate that. All right, we will move into 5.1, a request for information on CEO.
Hello, Council. I do not have a written report, really, not really a verbal report either. However, administration is available for any questions. If there's something of mind of Council, I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? No, we don't. We won't even have a motion to accept your non-report.
I'll move that.
We'll move into council action control, 5.2. And just have somebody please make a motion that we accept this as information. Councillor Bates.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept it as information, but then I have a comment.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'd noticed that the franchise fee discussion has moved from September to November, and that's fine, because initially it was presented that we try to really understand it for budget. But obviously I realize then I won't be involved, so I may submit a written submission that just says everything that I know and think about it. So I just thought
Okay, thank
I
you.
happened to see that date change.
All right. I'm assuming that you will be presented in time for budget for the next council.
Yes, Mayor Barclay, when I did present the franchise fee analysis back, we did say a date of November 17th
you did.
for it to come back. So we just really were updating
Yep.
the council.
Fair enough. I thought you'd said that prior, but yeah, thank you.
The reason I said that is I went back after I saw it, and every one of these action controls has said September until now.
Okay. All right, thank you. So we have a motion, all in favor? I can't see Councillor Messaros, but I assume that she put her hand up. Okay. Okay, thank you, Councillor Messaros. Okay, unanimous, thank you. All right, we'll now move into 6.1 and ask Manager Shaw to come back and then take us through the motions for the public, or from the public hearing.
Mayor and Council, you have a report before you pertaining to the public hearing that we just had. And so we have two motions that have been provided to you for your consideration. And those are that Council grants second reading as well as third reading to Bylaw 1470A86. So when we look at this area of the community, it is a fairly rural area of the community. Municipal services are currently not available, and there's really no timeline per se in terms of when they might become available. As I indicated in the public hearing, the proposal does follow the policy direction that Council has established over the years, as well as the statutory planning framework that is provided in the MDP, as well as the Woodlands Area Structure Plan, from the standpoint of providing a diversity of housing within the community itself. So if we take a look at the Table 1 here, you see the comparison between the R1A district, which is what these lots are currently, R1B and R1C. The R1C district is what the applicants are seeking these properties to be changed to. So you have a variety of the minimum parcel area as well as parcel width that are provided through the R1C. And I've indicated the permitted and discretionary uses within these districts themselves. And in the next table, you have a number of policies that have been put forward to you from the standpoint of how does this proposal meet our policy framework. And as I indicated in the public hearing segment, this proposal does meet the requirements that we have within our frameworks for reviewing such an application. And so our recommendation is that council does consider the second and third readings of this bylaw, which will change the land use zoning for these properties from R1A to R1C. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Manager Shaw. Could I please have someone make the first motion? Councillor Dunham.
Mayor Barclay, I move that council grants second reading to bylaws 1470-A86 to amend the land use district for properties civically described as 5400, 5420, and 5440 Davie Street, and legally described as Plan 242, 4271, Block 1, Lots 1, 2, and 3, from residential single-family district, R1A, to residential single-family district, R1C.
All right, thank you. Does anyone on council have any further comments? Councillor Wing?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. No, I just wanted to comment. I'm absolutely supportive of this. I have had recent experience with the new manufactured homes that we've been discussing, and they absolutely are amazing, and I think they'll be a great addition to our community. My only comment is I hope that as we move forward so that we can continue to facilitate our plans around housing in Innisfil, that we're able to create more spaces for these kinds of homes. So thank you for your work on this.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bates, do you have anything to add? Or no? Councillor Messaros? Councillor Dunham, anything? Good. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have a motion. All in favor? All right. Carry unanimously. And then I please ask somebody to make the next motion.
I can do that.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Messaros?
I move that council grants third reading to bylaw number 1470-A86 to amend the land use district for properties civically described as 5400, 5420, and 5440 Davie Street, and legally described as Plan 2424, 271, Block 1, Lots 1, 2, and 3, from residential single-family district R1A to residential single-family district R1C.
Okay, thank you. Are there any additional comments? No? All in favor? All right, carry unanimously. All right, thank you again for coming today, and thank you for the kind comments towards our planning and development team. We think they're the best too, so it's always good to hear. Yeah. Yes. Unless you want to stay.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
We're going to move here.
Yeah, all right. That's what we want to hear. Okay. Okay. All right, we'll move on to 6.2 with Director Jenkins.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. So we're looking to present a new council policy, economic development event support policy 2025-004 to address municipal sponsorship of appropriate ECDEV events. So this policy was provided to council last week at the September 2nd A&P meeting, providing a structure for administration and council to evaluate and potentially provide either in-kind or monetary support to events that are of economic significance for the town. The policy outlines how those can be evaluated, that requests of more than $5,000 are referred to council, and that administration will provide an estimate through the budgeting process each year, identifying specific events that they would intend to support. This policy, or this money can also be used to support either local organizations like the Innisfil Chamber of Commerce or events within the region. Following the meeting last week, we did include input from council to include a reporting requirement from event organizers or staff to allow for the evaluation of the sponsorship's value or impact, so to demonstrate how the town was recognized, attendance to the event, what that looked like, so that we're able to evaluate on an ongoing basis whether we see value in the contributions. So looking for consideration of approval of the policy today.
Okay, Thank you, Director Jenkins. Could I please have someone make the recommended motion? Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I move that Council approves the Economic Development Event Support Policy 2025-004 as presented.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Councillor Dunham.
No questions, just a comment. I was in support of this when it was presented previously, and with the additions, I fully support this, and I think it's a really good idea and a great move forward with everything. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? No. Just a question, Director Jenkins. I assume going forward, like there would be maybe money identified in the budget for events?
Yeah, so the idea would be, we would identify a budget line.
Sure.
There would be amounts with sort of the events that we intend.
Okay.
You know, there may be some, you know, additional funds that maybe could be allocated through the year, but
Okay.
that would be part of the budget presentation.
Oh, great. Okay, so we have a motion to support this new policy. All in favor? Okay, carry unanimously. Thank you. All right, we will move into 6.3, and I think maybe Director Jenkins and our Economic Development Officer, John Powell, present on this. So, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So you've already seen in your agenda quite a hefty read, so I've tried to consolidate those 300 plus pages into a brief report for you. So just taking you back to the beginning of the BREWD project, which was launched around about a year ago, almost a year ago, when the communities of our region, from Red Deer right down to Olds, gathered, and we were discussing opportunities to work collaboratively to meet some of the challenges, economic challenges and business challenges that we're experiencing in our region. So coming out of those initial discussions, we put out an RFP for a consultant, and we selected a consultant, and with the help of the consultant, we put together quite a large survey. So as far as and we had some outreach sessions as well with some of our businesses to get their support within our respective communities. So coming out of that process, we initially launched in January this year in Olds, and then we launched the survey. The survey was open to our businesses for 1 month, so it closed just towards the end of February this year. Coming out of that, we had around about 700 responses from businesses from all economic sectors. And it was our responsibility within our respective communities to drum up the interest. So coming out of Innisfail, from those 700 were 55 responses. And then on top of that, we had several one-to-one meetings with businesses. And also we were looking at some people who were out of work as well, gauging their views. So, yeah, I think, it was well over 700 once you've added all of those together. So coming out of that, we have having a complete name block now. The people who were doing the report for us, I can't think. The people who were doing the report for us, they put together a report, and they identified that most of the responses throughout central Alberta were very, very consistent. It didn't matter which community the responses were coming out of. But there were also some discrepancies in where each community was different from the other communities. So that was where the second report came out, which was dedicated specifically to the town of Innisfail. So, some interesting facts that came out of the Innisfail one, for example, was that 20% of responses were manufacturing, whereas over the region as a whole, it was only 5%. Now that says, on one hand, it says that, we have a large manufacturing sector in Innisfail, but also it might also mean that that's just how the response rates fell, because, whilst we were all pursuing a good cross-section of industries and businesses, in our respective communities, that's how the whole, the results fell. So next steps with these two reports, and there's also a memorandum of understanding which was also in your package. Next steps is to implement and identify projects and implement them from the reports. So as you see in your agenda, we broke that into 8 themes: human capital, innovation, financial capital, business climate, marketing, infrastructure, resources, and quality of life. So already several of the communities have launched the program in their communities, and several projects have been identified. The one I think which is most pressing and why the process is moving forward faster than perhaps ideally anticipated is an AI for Business conference, which is taking place on October 22nd in the town of Olds. So that's open to any business, anybody who's just interested in AI and where it's going. We did find out, and I just learned today actually, that of the 700 responses that we received, 400 of those responses indicated an interest in learning more about AI and where technology is going. So that was a pretty telling response. We're also looking at the business climate. So there's been a large number of people who've also expressed an interest in the Trade Accelerator program and how they can reach international markets. We actually had a meeting this morning actually with the province, with the provincial representatives who are responsible for that portfolio, the people who are responsible for Asia, Europe, and Latin America and North America. So we'll be working with them moving forward as well to really push that forward, because again, that was something we heard loud and clear from our community, from our businesses, that we really need to be informing them as to how we can support them to grow their businesses beyond Canada. The final one that came out was, well, the final one that's been identified and has actually started already is one between Red Deer Polytechnic and the province. So this one is looking at the workforce and where we feel the workforce is going for the future. So right now, Red Deer Polytechnic and the province is saying, this is our workforce now. In 10 years' time, 20 years' time, this is where we feel the workforce is going to be. How do we bridge that from an education point of view to equip the workers of the future or the current workers to transition into the economy of tomorrow? So that's already underway. That will include all of the communities. So coming out of this entire project is a capacity opportunity. So right now, I could be doing all of these things independently within the town of Innisfail, but being only one person, this would be a challenge. So we've got an awful lot of resources behind us in terms of people to really push this forward, and then it would be up to us as individual communities to ensure that our respective communities are properly represented in any of the projects which take place. I also see opportunities for CAPE potentially with some of the marketing initiatives which are proposed, well, could be proposed, they haven't been proposed yet, but could be. I also see opportunities in some of the workforce attraction projects which have been earmarked, although, obviously we need to work on the framework for that. But I see that, this would be an opportunity for a lot of different organizations to come together and really push our region forward. So that's about it. Oh, and I should just say the financial commitment for the town of Innisfail and for all communities would be $10,000 a year. That's $10,000 for 2025, which will need to come out of the operating budget, and then that would be $10,000 that we'd be requesting for 2026 onwards, and that would be our contribution towards the projects. And if the projects come out more expensive than what we can afford, then we decide which project we're going to drop. We're not intending to spend beyond our means. To date, we have spent $6,000, which has brought us up to this point. That was spent from 2024 operating budget. So that's about it from me. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, John. I'll open it up to the floor for questions. Anybody have any questions? Councillor Wing.
Sure.
I'll go to Councillor Messaros.
I'll kick it off, or okay. Thank you, John, for the presentation, and I did read the report and found it to be really interesting. I just wanted to comment as a volunteer that helped out getting those surveys done. The surveys were very well received from the businesses that I actually attended. They were anxious to participate. They were anxious to know that that attention was being paid to what their needs are and what their future might look like. So I actually had businesses contacting me to say, "Oh, I just talked to so and so, and they told me that you're doing this." So I was really happy when I saw the numbers coming out of Innisfail. I thought that the responses were interesting and encouraging, not really surprising, but I thought they were interesting. But the work plans that emerge, I think, will be essential, kind of the so what. So we've participated in the survey, so we've told you, all about it, so what's going to happen next? And so I think that will be critically important. I just in response to your comment about, the differences throughout the region, it's been my experience over my work career that in Central Alberta, it's stunning sometimes how unique communities are. You would hear about it all the time. Well, it's them and they're different, or we're different. It's like, how different can you be? Yeah, we are unique, and so results and plans that move forward that that focus on our differences, I think will be really, really important. The manufacturing response was great, and I think that can help guide the next council here as they move forward to their next strategic plan. Mm-hmm. And just my last comment is, I do support participation. I talked about this 4 years ago when we ran in the last election. I think together we are better and we are stronger. We do need regional awareness and regional capacity to achieve the objectives that are outlined in this report. Things like training and innovation provided through the post-secondary institutions, infrastructure, those larger municipalities such as 2 counties and 1 major urban center, quality of life and location. Those are all things that I think just make sense that we would be focusing on as a region. So those are my thoughts. So thank you for the work.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Councillor Messaros, you were next.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, and thank you, John and Megan, for the report. I got to preface my questions with that I have not read the whole thing. I've read the executive report, and I feel like to make a motion on either one of the motions that I'm not sure how others feel, but I feel like I need some more time to digest the report and connect it to the memorandum of understanding and what's being requested there. But I do have some questions, and you'll just have to forgive me if these are stated in the reports. So is it okay if I just go ahead?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So that I feel a little bit embarrassed because there's still kind of pieces of the process and the program that I don't really understand, and I just kind of wish on my own behalf that I had asked more specific and targeted questions as we're going along. So where it says next steps, the line and I think all of my questions sort of end up going to one place. So you don't even have to answer them right now. I'm just going to get them out, if that's okay. So it says only projects that address identified needs and are, my screen is so small over here, and are fully costed and have dedicated project leads to oversee them will be considered. I don't know what that means. So who will those projects be considered by? And I guess I don't understand what that means. So let's say if we have, say, Bilton comes forward and they've got an idea for doing some kind of a human capital project, and it's fully sector specific because it's manufacturing. What does it mean then that only projects that address identified needs, like that fulfill all of those pieces, will be considered? This is the part I don't understand. One of the parts I don't understand. And I'm just going to continue. And John, I did hear you talk about it's hard to know whether manufacturing was overrepresented in the data. And I think it would be useful for us to really know that, because if manufacturing is 4 times what it is in some of the other regions, or 2 times what the top sector shows from all of the regions put together, to me that's like that sector. I get that there are pieces that everybody's concerned about right now, like labor and skills, but thinking about the manufacturing sector, that, as Councillor Wing said, that really does define us as a community within the region. Then further to the projects that are going on right now, and I think this is just going to help me to understand like how BREWD is put together, and the programming is put together, and the projects are put together. So, for instance, we talked about the AI in Olds, and Red Deer Polytechnic has something going on. So let's just take Red Deer Polytechnic, for instance, then. What did they get out of this BREWD, out of this consortium? Like, how did this consortium support the project that they're doing now? Or is it more that the project that they're running now is going to support the objectives of the program and the project? This is kind of what I'm not really able to connect all the pieces here. And then finally, second finally, what does our $10,000 pay for? Does that, you mentioned something about we're not going to go outside of what we've budgeted, and I wasn't sure whether you're talking about yourself as a member of this of this consortium, or yourself as a member of Innisfil administration. And so, so I just would like some clarity on what that $10,000 is going to buy us. And then finally, what exactly is the difference in services coming to us through this, and what we would be supporting with $10,000, and what we're doing with CAPE? And can that be differentiated clearly, so that we can make a decision on like kind of what's happening here? I know we've had questions in the past about, are we getting our value out of CAPE? And now we've got to choose or make a decision about continuing to support this the Central Alberta First. And so, I guess I'm sorry if I'm, I hope I'm being clear in terms of what I'm unclear on. And then I guess I would just say I'll just put this out there because I'm not sure how others are feeling, but I wouldn't mind having a little bit more time to really pore over that report before I vote on either one of the motions. So that, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Messaros. John, did you want to respond?
Sure.
Oh, well, I wasn't sure if you did or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. So Mayor and Council, I'll do my best. There was quite a lot of to unpack there, I think, but and stop me if I'm not answering your question. But to start with, fully funded. What does it mean to be fully funded? So we're asking each of the communities to provide $10,000 towards the project, to Central Alberta First, to support these projects. So, just for argument's sake, let's say there are 10 communities, that would be $100,000. The projects that we pursue each year cannot come to more than $100,000. That could be with grants, there could be other sources of funding there, but, whatever happens, we are not allowing ourselves to spend beyond our means. With regards to the manufacturers being overrepresented, I think there's a good chance that we were overrepresented in the town, but that was just the way the chips fell. We pursued these businesses on equal measure, regardless of what sector they were in, and 20% of the respondents were from the manufacturing sector. That's not to say that we didn't, as I say, pursue retailers and people in the energy sector or oil and gas or so. Hopefully that answers that question. RDP. So the project that Red Deer Polytechnic are pursuing was one that they were already looking at, but this is an opportunity for them to expand the scope of the project. They were looking very much at the future of the workforce and how they can better equip their students now and in the future to meet the needs of the industries that are going to be evolving, particularly with things like AI and technologies and aging populations and certain criteria like that. So that was something that they were already hoping to look at, but this falls nicely within the scope of what they were wanting to do. I believe they've got some additional grant funding. Don't quote me on that. So, but I think there's some additional funding there. But as I said, whatever projects we do, we will be looking for grants and other sources of funding. So it's not like our $10,000 is that's it, and we're not going to be able to do anything beyond that. So I personally see this project complementing existing services such as CAPE, such as Community Futures. I see that there are certain opportunities for those organisations to apply their specialities, their skills to the project. I don't see that it's one or the other. I see them as complementary. Does that kind of answer your questions? Because there was, a lot to unpack there, and I'm hoping that I've covered it all.
Can I just ask a couple of follow-up questions?
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Messaros.
Okay, so then again, just helping me understand the pieces and the process. So RDP is running this research project, and I think that what the content of that project I think is extremely valuable. Yes, we need it. What I don't understand is what support are they getting from belonging to this group? So they've started to do this. They had this project in mind. This labor market research project, and then so what is Central Alberta First providing to Red Deer Polytechnic to expand the scope, and then who? So I guess that's a project that was submitted and it was considered and it was approved. And so who does all that, John?
So who does what? That last statement of yours, who does that? What?
So we're using, sorry, Megan, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, I believe she's referencing the Central Alberta First Steering Committee, that's who's looking at the projects and doing those considerations, which has membership from all of the partners.
So then, is this what it looks like then? So what would we do then? So let me just stick with Red Deer Polytechnic. So then did they submit a project idea to this committee, and then this committee approved it and then gave them some money from a pot, or?
Ultimately, so, yeah, Mayor and Council, ultimately, yes. So, each of the people on the committee, on the BREWD committee, on the Central Alberta First Committee, will propose projects, and then from that, we'll work out the parameters, the framework, what we're hoping to achieve out of the project and how it applies to answering some questions or some issues that arose from the strategy. Community Red Deer Polytechnic, they've got skin in the game because they really want to engage. Part of their mandate as a polytechnic is to engage more with industry. So they need to have a finger on the pulse as to where industry is going, what their priorities are, what their needs are, and they need to make the decisions according to where they see industry going in the future. So it's not purely academic. It's very much academic institution. It is very much meeting the needs of industry.
Yeah, I've got no like controversy with what they're doing. I fully support what they're doing. What I don't understand is we're using it as an exemplar. We're using that project as an exemplar for BREWD and for the projects that have been initiated. What I don't understand is what support have they received from, like, what is the connection? Like, what has BREWD done, or the Central Alberta First Committee done to support Red Deer Polytechnic in this undertaking that then then Red Deer Polytechnic is included as an exemplar project for the whole for BREWD, basically.
So
do you understand?
Yeah, what I'm understanding, the project isn't underway yet. They're still working on the framework for it. So it's still under discussion how it's going to look and who will be participating on that project. So it's something that they've proposed to the board, and now we need to mold it into a project which is going to fulfill recommendations or things we've learned from the strategy. So it's not underway yet. It's the same way as the TAP, the Trade Accelerator Program. That's not underway yet. It's still in the discussion phase, and we're still talking to the relevant parties. The only one which is actually actively moving forward right now is the AI in business. That's the only one which is a defined project, and these are the objectives, and this is what we're going to achieve coming out of that. That's on October 22nd.
Okay, and so are you and Megan on the committee so that you would have a voice in terms of, like, you know how much money each of the organizations is putting forward, you know how much money is there, and you would have a voice representing Innisfail's needs?
Yep. Yes, we're there to represent Innisfail and ensure that, we are front and centre from our perspective as to what's being achieved. Every community, there's a caveat actually, but every community is being asked for 10,000. That is the defined number that we're all being asked for. The caveat is smaller communities, which I believe was under 5,000. We were going to ask for $5,000, that being just because they're smaller communities. That includes sort of Penhold. I don't know what, if that's going to help Penhold out, but, that's something which we discussed at our last meeting.
Okay, let me just sit with that then. That's enough from me for this.
Thank you,
agenda.
Councillor Messaros. Councillor Bates is next.
Yeah, I got a few little questions, comments. So what I think I heard was 45 Innisfail businesses, or I think I read that, even though we have 55 responses, so we had 10 individuals.
It's 55 businesses.
I actually read in here 45, but...
Oh, no, sorry, that was a separate part of the project. So that was through RBSN. That's an organisation, stands for Regional Business Support Network. So that's a subsidiary. It's paid for through Prairies Can, and they are based in the town of Olds just because it's affiliated with Community Futures. But because Community Futures is such a huge geographical area, they needed an extra support for the southern portion of their area. So, RBSN is fulfilling some of the requirement mandate of Community Futures, not exclusively, but part of it. So, RBSN has been working with a lot of businesses throughout our region, including 45 businesses in Innisfail to date, working on any range of things, business planning, succession planning, a whole range of initiatives that our businesses have needed. There's also been some marketing, online marketing, which has been paid for federally. So I think there's $5,000 or $10,000 worth of marketing, through social media that they've got through RBSN. So there has been a lot of value for
so
our
maybe
businesses.
I may be blurring some of of what I thought I knew about BREWD. But anyway, we had 55 responses, some of whom were individuals. It does concern me a little bit just that we didn't have a bigger share of retail, but I'll just make that as a statement. But I didn't become one of the BREWD ambassadors because I knew I wouldn't be running again, and I thought my continuity would that it wouldn't be a good investment. But I thought I remember a big portion of BREWD was that the people that expressed interest were the ones that were going to start to put some skin in the game and have an investment, and yet I only see, the assessment coming to the community, and that concerns me a little bit. So unless that changed, I don't know if any of the individual uptake of BREWD, where the people got some of the free marketing and that sort of thing, if any of them are being asked to put skin in the game. The other thing that I wonder about, and it's just always any of the organizations that start, is so then if we do commit for 3 years, it's easy to the thing just keeps going, and I would assume that some of the committee mandate is to measure how effective some of the initiatives are being, even the AI presentation, but to measure that, to be able to track whether some of your respondents are dropping out, or whether they're still engaged and helping and becoming a part of it, and also have a path for new people to come in. So those are all things that are just circulating in my mind a little bit here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bates. Councillor Dunham?
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. I think there was a statement that you had about halfway through, is that you're one person, and that really what I take from it is the value you see in this is that it's the organization and the body count. And I think as a council, often we defer to whether you find, like CO Becker or senior leadership team, if you find value in BREWD, then I think it's our responsibility to try and digest that and understand that. And I think that's what we're trying to do here. And I guess that's just my point is, do you believe that there's value in this? Because as we talked about early on, I think some of us were a little bit confused, the difference between what BREWD was doing and what CAPE is doing. Obviously, there's differentiators, but do you and Director Jenkins find value in this? And do you think that this will be impactful to the community within what they're doing, that we potentially will find projects to work with BREWD over the next few years?
Yes, I do.
Okay, me next. I'm a bit confused about all this, and I think probably like Councillor Messaros, I haven't had the time to go through the report. We just got it Thursday, and it's busy Friday, Saturday, and part day Sunday, so haven't been able to dive through 365 pages yet. Have scanned it, but I would appreciate a bit of a pause, because I guess having been a member of the Community Economic Development Advisory Group since the beginning of that last term, I'm trying to see where all this fits together. And I think somewhat like Councillor Messaros, I look at the Red Deer Polytechnic project and what is it that we want to be doing? Should we be in workforce development? I mean, how many organizations right now are working on workforce development, including the Government of Alberta? We have things like the Central Alberta Collegiate Institute, we have RDP, we have Olds College, we have the Government of Alberta. There's so many things going on. Is that where we want to put our stake into that project? I look at the Trade Accelerator program. I'll be very honest with you. I reached out to them several months ago. I saw that they had been in Lethbridge. They were looking to come to Central Alberta. I reached out to them to see about them coming to Innisfail. I connected them into with CEO Becker. I think ultimately Innisfail really wasn't the size of the community to make that successful, and I thought they'd moved on to Red Deer. And TAP has been in Central Alberta for, I think, probably 5 years now. So it's not like these are new, and are we just kind of looking, oh, well, we're going to attach ourselves to that and this and this. So what I would like to see right now is a pause where we can take a step back and say, okay, where's our community economic development power of place plan? When we did that survey for that particular strategy, we had 155 responses from this community. So that is 3 times more than what has happened out of this project. And I'd like to see a budget, because I really don't understand where money is coming and going. And as far as CAPE, I guess I could make a comment from CAPE that we haven't been engaged with this. And I mean, CAPE has their strategy as well. And so I would like to see how all these things fit together. I would like our Community Economic Development Advisory Group to see this report and kind of digest it and understand what are the work plans coming out of this, and how much time is this taking, and how much focus is it taking away from what we need to be doing here in Innisfail. Because I look at the power of place and I think, okay, here's some boxes we've checked, here's some we haven't. What's happening there? I don't know at this point in time. And so I'm not prepared, to be honest with you, to move forward right now until I can have a better understanding of kind of this holistic look at this. And I appreciate, John, all the work you've put into this and the whole BREWD group, but But I saw the other day, there's like 27 projects that are going to launch, and I think, well, what are those and how were those determined, and where are we going here? So I'm finding it really confusing, and again, you know, getting a 365-page document on Thursday and having an understanding of that by Monday is not possible. So I would like us to pause and come back, and maybe CEO Becker, I don't know, maybe you have some comments you'd like to throw in, but kind of help us out here. And
Certainly, Mayor Barclay, to your question, I myself, I stated this outside of the chambers. I haven't seen this level of engagement of administrative staff in my, how many years, 18, 19 years in Central Alberta. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity that people are trying to advance holes that we have not filled in our attempts here, even in Innisfil. I do see connection to the power plays strategy in the piece that come to mind is the desire for regional collaboration. As a CAO, I'm working on understanding process. Councillor Messaros's comments just relating to process, that's more maybe on project. Mine is trying to, besides getting the information to council, is to work towards what's your expectations with projects, with budget. Again, how does this all connect, and what is council's expectations at the governance table? For more local, I'd say that the community economic development framework is just probably quite loose currently. That's to do with changes of the committee, addition of professional experience. So I think the CED framework, if council wishes to continue on with that, we'll need some work there to reestablish that foundation component. It's my advice right now. I'm working with administration, with the director, is to work towards budget with new council to do an update to the power plays strategy. So those things are things I'm working on with administration. I find it too somewhat confusing, is just due to the momentum that's been created. However, council needs to determine if $10,000, although I don't say that lightly, $10,000 is $10,000, and it's still early in the game as we establish processes and understanding what is that risk award, and that's something administration really needs to demonstrate. So here to support you, council, how you wish to proceed, if it's a pause or if you wish to advance as per the recommended motion, certainly take your guidance. If you wish to dive in a little bit more detail, with the consideration of going in camera, just to talk about how things are, how we're working more detail, more subject to private discussion based on what was the Privacy Act, but certainly put that to council. But if you want to have a deeper dive due to the sensitivities of some of the pieces to this, you may want to consider that, but I'll leave to council how you wish to proceed.
I would personally prefer a deeper dive.
Okay.
You know, whether that's today or another day, but
you know, again, not to interrupt Mayor Barclay, I think the conversation has been great. A lot of good questions, and maybe it is timely to have just a few minutes just to have a conversation associated with the privacy legislation, and just to check in with you and go from there.
okay. So we have a motion to go in camera then?
Sure.
Okay. Would somebody like to make that? Councillor Dunham?
I'll make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, carried.
If I may, Mayor Barclay, before,
Yep.
just for the gallery, expecting a few minutes, so meeting's not over, and but certainly not kicking you out, but certainly we do require council's time for a few minutes.
Okay, so we're back from in camera. So going back to 6.3 and the BREWD update. So I'll just have somebody make the first motion, the recommended motion, please.
Mayor Barclay, I move that council accept the BREWD regional strategy and Innisfail community survey data as information.
All right, thank you. Any comments? All in favor? All right, carried unanimously. And then I think based on the conversation we've had, we'll ask for a motion to direct administration to bring back further information about the BREWD report and strategy going forward.
I'll make the motion that Mayor
Okay.
Barclay just put forth, and just with a few comments that, you know, when I was reading the report, I didn't feel that it was my place to analyze the data. The data was there for senior leadership team. It was just, some of it wasn't interesting. I didn't make it all the way through. And like, to my previous comments, is that in situations like this, I really do defer to the senior leadership team. And I think that CAPE, BREWD, our ECDEV can coexist and help build each other. And it's just finding what works within certain ones to help bolster the others. And yes, I guess my concern is a lot of the hours that have been put into BREWD, are they detracting from what we're trying to do locally within our ECDEV and that? And if that's the case, I would prefer to see some of those hours brought back in and for us to elevate the ECDEV to where it should be. But beyond that, I look forward to seeing the information and the data, or not data per se, but just a little bit more summarized of everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any comments? No? Okay, so we have a motion. All in favor? Okay, carried. All right, thank you. So we'll move into council reports. We'll begin with Councillor Dunham. Okay, thanks. Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I didn't submit a report. I didn't have any activities to report last week. However, moving forward this week, I'll be at the registration night tomorrow evening, the Harvest Festival this weekend, and I do have a Parkland Board meeting on Thursday morning.
All right, great. Thank you. And Councillor Bates.
Well, you can see I submitted that massive report. The only thing I would highlight is I think upcoming that the Water Commission is going to really work hard in the next probably 2 months to be able to hand off a lot of budget work to whoever inherits it.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I didn't have anything to report this last session.
Right.
Period.
Thank you. So I'll just give a brief report in public about the SiteLink forum that was held September 3rd to 3 to 5. So it was, the home base was Holiday Inn in Red Deer County, and there were 7 international site selectors that came from the U.S. And over those 3 days, they toured various places around Central Alberta. I know our economic development officer hosted them in Innisfail on Friday, so thank you, John, for that. They went to Deep Sky and then had, I think, a bit of a rest at Darkwoods because everybody was pretty tired by that time. But they were out in Sylvan Lake, Junction 42, I believe, Olds College, RDP, and they also did some fun stuff around the area as well. Paige Webster, who's the principal of that organization, they don't just want to make the 3 days about business. They want to have some fun at it and get to know communities and get to know people in a different light. I did attend the dinner at the Holiday Inn on Thursday evening and brought some welcome remarks. And I would say just the conversations I had, and I am sure John can give us more information going forward, and also had a debrief with the executive director of CAPE, Paul Salvatore, on Sunday, that it was well received. And I think sounded like a lot of good information that came out of it, both ways. And I think there's some things in the hopper probably going forward around that type of thing. So it was great to, I think, to expose the region. Thursday night, there was a panel with Invest Alberta and Nova Chemicals from Joffrey and Todd Orman from Olds College, and it was really interesting and just their insights. And I loved what Sabrina from Invest Alberta said. She talked about this central region and just the opportunities we have with our transportation links, with the non-congested roads that we enjoy here that we don't necessarily talk about too much. But anyway, I felt overall it was an excellent event. And then Saturday I was at the Penhold Parade, so lots of people out for that. It was a wonderful morning. And Sunday I hopped out to the Big Bend Airport, Innisfail, and took in the fly-in breakfast. Back in the day, my dad had a plane, and so we used to go to many of those things, so it was kind of great memories to go once again, and there was a good turnout there, and the new runway looks fantastic. So new runway and taxi area that has now been completed. And then this week we'll be going to registration night tomorrow night, and a few other things on the go. So that's where that is at. So we will move into upcoming events. And when somebody's ready, we'll just have a motion, please, to accept the upcoming events as information. Councillor Bates.
Sure, I'll make that motion, and I will, I just learned myself today that we'll add one last meeting with the Water Commission on the 8th of October.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion? All right, carried. And then we will have a motion to go back in camera again. Councillor Dunham.
Mayor Barclay will make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried.